A very ordinary day. David wakes up when his alarm rings. The alarm rings at 6:45 a.m. It rings softly, not loudly. David opens his eyes, but he does not move. He looks at the ceiling. The ceiling is white. There is a small crack near the corner. David thinks for a moment. He thinks about the day ahead. He knows today will be a normal day, not a special day, not a bad day, just a normal day. After a few minutes, David sits up. He puts his feet on the floor. The floor is cold. He feels the cold through his socks. David stands up and stretches. He walks to the bathroom. The light is bright. He blinks. He looks at himself in the mirror. His hair is messy. His face looks tired. "Good morning," he says quietly. He brushes his teeth. He washes his face. The water feels cool and fresh. After that, David goes to the kitchen. The kitchen is small but clean. There is a table. There are two chairs. There is a window near the sink. Outside, the sky is light gray. David makes coffee. He fills the kettle with water. He turns it on. He waits. While the water heats, he opens the window a little. Fresh air comes in. He hears cars in the distance. He hears a bird on a nearby roof. The kettle clicks. David pours the water. The smell of coffee fills the room. He sits at the table with his cup. He does not look at his phone yet. He just sits. He drinks his coffee slowly. Some people like mornings. Some people do not. David is somewhere in the middle. After breakfast, David gets dressed. He chooses a simple shirt. He chooses dark pants. He puts on comfortable shoes. Before leaving, he checks his pocket. Keys, phone, wallet. Everything is there. David leaves his apartment at 7:45 a.m. He locks the door behind him. The hallway is quiet. The elevator is slow. When he reaches the street, the city is waking up. People walk quickly. Some people look tired. Some people look busy. David walks to the bus stop. He stands and waits. A woman stands next to him. She wears headphones. A man checks his watch again and again. The bus arrives. David gets on. He finds a seat near the window. The bus moves slowly through traffic. David looks outside. He sees shops opening. He sees people buying breakfast. He sees a man walking a dog. The ride takes 30 minutes. David gets off near his office. The building is tall and gray. Inside, it is cool and quiet. David takes the elevator to the 4th floor. He walks to his desk. He turns on his computer. The screen lights up. Work begins. The morning passes slowly. David reads emails. He answers messages. He attends meetings. The meeting is long. People talk a lot. Some things are decided. Some things are not. David listens. He takes notes. At 12:30 p.m., it is time for lunch. David usually eats outside. He walks to a small park near the office. The park has grass. It has trees. It has a few benches. David buys a sandwich from a nearby cafe. He sits on a bench. He eats slowly. Around him, people talk and laugh. A child runs past him. A man reads a newspaper. A woman talks on her phone. David finishes lunch. He stays for a few minutes longer. He enjoys the quiet moment. Then he goes back to work. The afternoon feels longer than the morning. David works on a report. He checks it carefully. He fixes small mistakes. At 4:45 p.m., he feels tired. He stretches in his chair. He looks at the clock. At 5:30 p.m., the workday ends. David shuts down his computer. He puts on his jacket. He leaves the office. Outside, the air feels different, cooler, softer. David decides to walk home. He does not want to take the bus. Walking helps him relax. He walks past familiar streets. He passes a bookstore. He passes a bakery. He passes a small flower shop. In the flower shop, bright colors fill the window. David slows down. He looks at the flowers. He does not buy any, but he smiles. He continues walking. Halfway home, David stops at a small store. He needs bread and milk. Inside the store, it is warm. Soft music plays. David picks up what he needs. At the register, the cashier smiles. Long day? She asks. Yes, David says. But it's over now. That's good, she says. David leaves the store. The sky is now orange and pink. Lights turn on in buildings. Windows glow softly. When David reaches his apartment, he feels calm. He unlocks the door. He steps inside. Home is quiet. David puts the groceries away. He washes his hands. He changes into comfortable clothes. Later, he makes a simple dinner. He eats at the table. No phone, no TV. After dinner, David sits by the window. Outside, the city is slower now. Cars pass quietly. People walk their dogs. David takes a deep breath. The day was ordinary. Nothing exciting happened. Nothing bad happened. But the day was full of small moments. David turns off the lights. He gets ready for bed. Tomorrow will be another ordinary day. And that is okay. The Quiet Path by the Sea. Early one morning, before the town was fully awake, Sam stepped outside his small house near the sea. The sky was soft and pale, painted with light blue and gentle pink clouds. The air was cool and clean, and everything felt calm. Sam liked this time of day. It was quiet. No cars, no voices. Only the sound of the wind and distant waves. He took a slow breath and began walking toward the coastal path. The path followed the sea, moving gently up and down beside tall grass and smooth stones. Sam walked slowly. He was not in a hurry. He never hurried in the morning. With each step, his thoughts became softer. The sea was calm today. Small waves touched the shore and moved away again, like breathing. In, out, in, out. Sam listened to the sound and matched his breath to it. As he walked, he noticed small details. A bird standing on one leg near the water. The way the light danced on the surface of the sea. The smell of salt in the air. These simple things made him feel peaceful. Sam had not always felt this way. In the past, his days were full of noise. His work was busy. His phone never stopped ringing. Even when he was tired, his mind kept moving. But one day he decided to change. He moved to this small town by the sea. He chose a quieter life, a slower life. And every morning he walked this path. Farther down the path, Sam saw a wooden bench. It was old and smooth, shaped by many years of sun and wind. He often stopped here. Today he sat down and rested his hands on his knees. The sea stretched wide in front of him. There was no end in sight. Only water, sky, and light. Sam closed his eyes. He listened. Waves, Wind, a distant bird calling. Nothing else. No past, no future, only this moment. After a while, he opened his eyes and saw something new. A small shell lay near his foot. It was white, with soft pink lines, worn smooth by the sea. Sam picked it up. He turned it slowly in his hand. This shell has traveled far, he thought. It has been pushed and pulled by the waves. It has rested in the sand. It has waited patiently. The shell reminded him of himself. Life had moved him in many directions, sometimes fast, sometimes rough. But now he was here, still, calm, present. Sam placed the shell back on the ground. He believed some things should stay where they belong. He stood up and continued walking. The path curved gently ahead, leading toward a small lighthouse. It was not a large lighthouse, but it was strong and steady. Its white walls glowed softly in the morning light. Sam liked the lighthouse. It never moved. It never hurried. It simply stood and guided others. When he reached it, he stopped again. The door was closed, as it always was at this hour. But Sam did not need to go inside. He walked around it slowly, feeling the cool stone with his fingertips. The lighthouse made him feel safe. After a few moments, he sat down on the grass nearby. He leaned back and looked at the sky. The clouds were moving slowly now. The colors were changing. Morning was becoming day. Sam smiled gently. He thought about the people in town. Some would wake soon. Some would rush to work. Some would worry about things they could not control. He wished them peace. He wished them calm. Sam stayed there for a long time. He did not check the time. He did not think about what came next. Eventually, he stood up again and began walking home. The path felt familiar under his feet, comforting, like an old friend. As he walked, he felt grateful. Grateful for the quiet. Grateful for the sea. Grateful for the simple gift of being alive in this moment. When Sam reached his house, the sun was higher now. Light filled the windows. The day was ready to begin. He opened the door and stepped inside. Before closing it, he looked back once more at the sea. It was still there, calm, patient, endless. Sam nodded softly. I will return tomorrow, he whispered. And with that, he closed the door, carrying the peace of the quiet path with him into the day. The Man Who Walked Every Morning. Every morning, just before the sun rose, Ethan walked. He did not walk fast. He did not walk slow. He walked at the same steady pace every day. Ethan lived in a small town near the ocean. The streets were quiet in the early morning. Most people were still sleeping. The shops were closed. The air was cool and clean. Ethan liked this time of day. He liked the sound of his shoes on the sidewalk. He liked the soft wind on his face. He liked how the sky slowly changed from dark blue to light orange. Ethan was not a young man. His hair was gray, and his back was slightly bent. But his legs were strong, and his mind was calm. He walked every morning for one reason: to think. When Ethan was younger, his life was loud. He worked long hours. He answered many phone calls. He worried about money, time, and the future. His mind was always busy. But now his life was quieter. His children were grown. His job was finished. His house was small and simple. Still, his thoughts were not always quiet. That is why he walked. Each morning, Ethan followed the same path. He walked past the old library. He walked past the park with tall trees. He walked past the small cafe on the corner. The cafe was never open when he passed it, but he liked the smell of coffee that stayed in the air from the day before. Sometimes he saw the same people. A woman walking her dog. A man cleaning the sidewalk in front of his store. A jogger listening to music. They nodded at Ethan. Ethan nodded back. They did not talk. That was okay. One morning, something was different. As Ethan walked past the park, he saw a bench he had never noticed before. It was wooden and old. The paint was peeling. One leg was darker than the other, like it had been repaired. Ethan stopped. He was sure the bench had not been there before. But the park had always been there. The trees had always been there. Maybe I just never saw it, he said quietly. Ethan sat down. The bench was cool. It made a soft sound when he moved. From the bench, he could see the path, the trees, and a small pond. The water was still. Ethan took a deep breath. He sat there for a long time. He thought about his past. He thought about his first job. He thought about his children when they were young. He thought about mistakes he had made. Some thoughts made him smile. Some thoughts made him sad. But he did not fight the thoughts. He let them come. He let them go. That was something he had learned with time. The next morning, Ethan came back to the bench. This time, someone was already sitting there. It was a young man. The man was looking at the ground. His shoulders were tight. His hands were moving again and again, like he was nervous. Ethan slowed his steps. He did not want to disturb him. But when Ethan passed the bench, the young man looked up. "Good morning," the young man said. His voice was quiet. "Good morning," Ethan replied. Ethan walked a few more steps. Then he stopped. He turned around. "May I sit?" Ethan asked. The young man nodded. "Yes," he said. They sat in silence. The wind moved the leaves above them. A bird landed near the pond. After a moment, the young man spoke. "I come here to think," he said. Ethan smiled slightly. "So do I," he said. The young man looked surprised. "You walk every morning," the young man said. "I see you." Ethan nodded. "I sit here sometimes," the young man said. "But my thoughts are loud." Ethan did not answer right away. "Yes," he said finally. "Thoughts can be loud." The young man took a deep breath. "I don't know what to do with my life," he said. Ethan looked at him carefully. The young man was tired. His eyes were heavy. He looked like someone who had not slept well. "That is a hard feeling," Ethan said. The young man nodded. "I feel like I'm running out of time," he said. Ethan looked at the pond. The water moved slowly. "Time feels different when you are older," Ethan said. But I remember that feeling. The young man looked at Ethan. What did you do? He asked. Ethan smiled. I kept walking, he said. They met again the next morning, and the next. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they did not. The young man's name was Alex. Alex talked about his job. He talked about his fears. He talked about feeling lost. Ethan listened. He did not give advice. He did not tell Alex what to do. He only listened. Sometimes that was enough. One morning, Alex did not come. Ethan waited. He sat on the bench longer than usual. The next morning, Alex did not come again. Ethan felt a small worry in his chest. On the third morning, Alex appeared. He looked different. His shoulders were relaxed. His face was calmer. Good morning, Alex said. Good morning, Ethan replied. Alex sat down. I made a decision, Alex said. Ethan waited. I quit my job, Alex said. Ethan nodded slowly. And? He asked. I don't know what comes next, Alex said. But I feel lighter. Ethan smiled. That is a good start, he said. Weeks passed. The mornings became warmer. The sun rose earlier. One day, Alex stood up from the bench. I won't be coming here any more, he said. Ethan looked at him. I'm moving to another city, Alex said. I want to try something new. Ethan stood up too. I am glad, he said. Alex smiled. Thank you, Alex said, for listening. Ethan nodded. Thank you, he said, for sitting. The next morning, Ethan walked alone again. The bench was empty. He sat down. The pond was still. The trees were quiet. Ethan smiled. He stood up and continued his walk. The world was the same. But something inside him felt new. And every morning, just before the sun rose, Ethan walked. Elena had always believed that life was something you had to push through. Push through tired mornings. Push through long days. Push through the feeling that something important was always just out of reach. She lived in a small town where the streets were familiar and the days often felt the same. Every morning, Alina followed the same routine. She woke up early, made a simple breakfast, and walked to the bus stop with her hands in her pockets. She liked the quiet of the early hours before the town fully woke up. Still, even in the quiet, her mind was never calm. She often felt like she was late for something, though she never knew exactly what. One morning, as Elena walked down Oak Street, she noticed something new. At least, she thought it was new. A narrow dirt path branched off from the sidewalk and disappeared between two rows of trees. She had walked this street for years, yet she could not remember seeing the path before. She slowed her steps. The path looked old and unused. Leaves covered most of it, and small stones lined the edges. There was no sign, no fence, and no clear reason for it to be there at all. Elena checked her watch. She had time, just a few extra minutes. Without fully deciding to, she stepped off the sidewalk and onto the path. The noise of the street faded almost immediately. The air felt cooler beneath the trees, and the ground was soft under her shoes. Birds moved gently above her, and sunlight filtered through the leaves in quiet patterns. Elena walked slowly, unsure where the path led. After a short distance, she came to a small clearing. In the center stood an old wooden bench. The wood was worn smooth, as if many people had sat there long ago. But now the clearing was empty. Elena sat down. For the first time that morning, she did not think about time. She did not think about what she had to do next. She simply listened. The wind moved through the trees. Somewhere nearby, water flowed over rocks. Elena felt something loosen inside her. Something she had been holding too tightly for too long. She stayed there until she realized she would miss her bus. Later that day, Elena could not stop thinking about the path. After work, instead of going straight home, she returned to Oak Street. The path was still there, quiet and waiting. This time she walked farther. The path curved gently and led to a small stream. The water was clear, moving slowly but steadily. Elena stood and watched it for a long time. It did not rush, yet it never stopped. That night, Elena slept more deeply than she had in months. Days passed, and the path became part of her routine. She did not tell anyone about it. It felt like a private place, something meant just for her. Some mornings she sat on the bench. Other days she followed the stream. Sometimes she did nothing at all, except breathe and listen. Slowly, Elena noticed changes. She was less tense at work. She listened more when people spoke. She felt less afraid of silence. One afternoon, Elena found something unexpected near the bench. A small wooden sign, freshly placed. The letters were simple and carved by hand. It read, "You don't have to hurry to arrive." Elena stared at the words for a long time. She did not know who had placed the sign there, or when. But the message felt true in a way she could not explain. Weeks later, Elena noticed someone else on the path for the first time. A young woman walked slowly, wearing headphones and moving carefully. She smiled at Elena as they passed. "Beautiful day," the woman said. Elena smiled back. "Yes, it is." They did not speak again, but Elena felt a quiet joy, knowing the path was no longer hers alone. One morning, Elena realized something important. The path had not changed her life in big, dramatic ways. Her job was the same. Her town was the same. Her days still moved forward. But she had changed. She no longer felt like life was something to push through. It was something to walk through slowly, quietly, and with attention. And the path, she realized, had always been there. She had just never been ready to see it. Every morning, before the town was fully awake, a woman named Clara walked the same path. She woke up before the sun, when the sky was still soft and gray. The streets were quiet, and the air felt clean and cool. Most people were asleep, but Clara was already tying her shoes and stepping outside. She did not walk to exercise. She did not walk to reach a place. She walked because it helped her think. Clara lived alone in a small house near the edge of town. The house was simple, with white walls and a wooden porch. There was a small garden in front, but she did not spend much time there. Her favorite place was the path that began just past the last street light. The path followed a narrow river and led into a group of tall trees. Birds often rested there, and sometimes deer crossed the path early in the morning. Clara liked how the world felt honest there, quiet, real. As she walked, she thought about her life. She was not unhappy, but she was not excited either. Her days were steady and predictable. She worked at a local library, returning books to shelves and helping people find what they were looking for. She liked the work, but it never surprised her. At night, she cooked simple meals and read until she felt tired. Then she slept, and the next day looked very much like the last. Some people would say this was a peaceful life. Others would say it was a lonely life. Clara was not sure which one was true. One morning, something different happened. As Clara walked along the river, she noticed a bench she had never seen before. It was made of dark wood and placed carefully beside the path. The bench looked new but simple, as if it had always belonged there. She stopped walking. "I've never seen that before," she said quietly to herself. She walked past this spot every morning. She was sure of it. Curious, Clara sat down on the bench. The wood felt smooth and warm, even though the morning air was cool. From the bench, she could see the river moving slowly, reflecting the early light. She sat there for a long time, longer than she usually walked. When she finally stood up, she felt something she had not felt in a while: interest. The next morning, Clara walked again. The bench was still there. This time, a piece of paper rested on it. It was folded once, placed carefully in the center. Clara hesitated. She looked around. but no one else was there. Slowly, she picked up the paper and opened it. Inside, there were only a few words, written in neat handwriting. What do you wish your life felt like? Clara read the sentence twice. She had asked herself many questions in life, but not this one, not in this way. She folded the paper and placed it back on the bench. The rest of the day, the question stayed in her mind. What did she wish her life felt like? Not what she wanted to own, not where she wanted to live, how she wanted it to feel. That night, Clara could not sleep easily. Her thoughts moved like the river beside the path. The next morning, she returned to the bench. This time, she brought a pen. She sat down, took the paper, and wrote, "I wish my life felt meaningful." She folded the paper and left it on the bench. For a moment, she felt silly, like she was talking to no one. But as she stood up to leave, she felt lighter. Each morning after that, there was a new question. One asked, "When do you feel most like yourself?" Another asked, "What have you been avoiding?" Clara answered every one. Sometimes her answers were short. Sometimes they filled the whole page. She never saw who left the questions. She never heard footsteps or voices. Only the quiet sounds of water and birds. Slowly, something inside her began to change. She noticed she was smiling more at the library. She started recommending books she loved instead of just the popular ones. She spoke more honestly, even when it felt uncomfortable. One afternoon, a young woman came into the library looking lost. "I don't know what I'm looking for," the woman said. Clara smiled gently. "That's okay," she replied. "That happens more often than you think." She helped the woman find a book, not because it was famous, but because it asked deep questions. When the woman left, she said, "Thank you. I feel calmer." Clara watched her go and felt a quiet pride. Weeks passed. One morning, there was no question on the bench. Instead, there was a small box. Clara opened it slowly. Inside was a notebook. The cover was plain with no title. On the first page, there was a sentence. The questions are yours now. Clara sat there for a long time. She understood. The bench was never about answers given to her. It was about learning how to listen to herself. That morning, she wrote her own question on the first page of the notebook. What is one small thing I can do today to live honestly? She closed the notebook and took it with her. From that day on, Clara still walked every morning. The bench remained, but the questions came from her now. Her life did not suddenly change in big ways. She did not move away or become famous. She did not wake up every day feeling perfect. But her days felt real. And every morning, as she walked beside the river, Clara felt something she once thought was missing. She felt awake. A quiet morning walk. It is early in the morning. The sky is light blue. The sun is just coming up. Alex wakes up at 6 o'clock. The room is quiet. There is no noise outside. Alex sits up in bed. He takes a deep breath. Today feels calm. He gets out of bed slowly. He does not want to rush. There is time. Alex goes to the kitchen. He fills a glass with water. He drinks the water slowly. The kitchen window is open. Cool air comes inside. The air feels fresh. Alex puts on comfortable clothes. He puts on his shoes. He decides to go for a walk. Outside, the street is quiet. There are no cars. There are no people. Alex starts walking down the street. His steps are slow. He listens to the sounds around him. He hears birds in the trees. The birds are singing. Their sounds are soft and gentle. Alex walks past small houses. Some lights are on. Most windows are dark. A dog barks far away. Then it is quiet again. The street feels peaceful. Alex turns the corner. There is a small park nearby. He walks toward the park. The park is almost empty. There is one bench near a tree. There is a path around the grass. Alex walks along the path. The grass is green. The ground is a little wet. He smells fresh air. He feels relaxed. His shoulders feel lighter. Alex slows down. He looks at the sky. The clouds move slowly. He thinks about nothing important. He is not planning the day. He is just walking. After a few minutes, Alex sits on the bench. The bench feels cool. He sits quietly. A person walks past with a coffee cup. They nod and smile. Alex smiles back. The park feels safe and calm. Alex enjoys the quiet time. He enjoys being alone. After a short rest, Alex stands up. He stretches his arms. He takes another deep breath. It is time to go home. The walk was short. but it was enough. Alex walks back the same way. The street is still quiet. The morning is still calm. When he gets home, he feels good. His mind feels clear. His body feels ready. Alex takes off his shoes. He goes back to the kitchen. He makes a cup of tea. The day has not started yet, but Alex already feels peaceful. A quiet morning walk makes a difference. A simple afternoon at home. It is early afternoon. The sun is high in the sky. The house is quiet. Maria is at home today. She does not have work. She does not have plans. She sits at the table near the window. The light comes in softly. The room feels warm. Maria opens her laptop. She checks a few messages. Nothing is urgent. She closes the laptop again. She does not want to look at the screen. She wants a calm afternoon. Maria stands up and walks to the kitchen. She fills a kettle with water. She turns it on. While the water heats, she looks outside. A few people walk by. Cars pass slowly on the street. The kettle makes a soft sound. The car is ready. Maria pours hot water into a cup. She adds a tea bag. She waits for a moment. The smell is gentle and warm. Maria carries the cup to the sofa. She sits down carefully. She takes a small sip. The tea is hot. She waits before drinking more. There is no hurry. She picks up a book from the table. It is an easy book. She has read it before. Maria reads a few pages. Then she stops. She looks around the room. The clock ticks quietly. The air feels still. The moment feels peaceful. After some time, Maria stands up again. She stretches her arms. She opens the window a little. Fresh air comes inside. The room feels lighter. She feels comfortable. Maria goes back to the table. She writes a short note. Just a few simple words. She smiles to herself. The afternoon is slow. And that is fine. An evening at the small grocery store. It is early evening. The sky is turning orange. The day is ending. Daniel puts on his jacket. He takes his keys. He leaves his apartment. He walks down the stairs. The building is quiet. Most people are at home. Daniel walks to the small grocery store nearby. It is only a few minutes away. He likes this store. The door opens with a soft sound. The lights inside are bright. The air smells clean. Daniel takes a basket. He walks slowly down the first aisle. He looks at the shelves. He picks up some bread. Then he adds a few apples. He puts them in the basket. A worker restocks the shelves. They nod to Daniel. Daniel nods back. The store is not busy. Only a few people are inside. Everyone moves slowly. Daniel goes to the next aisle. He chooses some rice. He checks the price. He listens to quiet music in the store. The song is soft. It feels relaxing. At the back of the store, Daniel finds milk. He takes one carton. The basket feels a little heavier. He walks to the counter. The cashier smiles and says hello. Daniel says hello too. The cashier scans the items. The machine makes small sounds. Daniel waits patiently. After paying, Daniel takes his bag. He thanks the cashier. He walks outside. The air is cooler now. The street lights are on. The evening feels calm. Daniel walks home at an easy pace. He is not tired. He feels comfortable. When he gets home, he puts the food away. He washes his hands. He takes a deep breath. The day is almost over. Simple moments feel good. A quiet evening is enough.